Good afternoon. My name is Sean Russell with Flexential. I'm an account executive and function a lot like a channel manager. We're kind of in between channel managers right now for the Southeast. They should be our new channel managers starting any day now, but I always run my business like a channel manager. I hope to do as much business as I can through the channel. Value you guys very much. Also with me is Brent DeHate, solutions engineer. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, there we go, just our product suite, focusing on co-location, interconnection, which is probably how most of you probably know about us. And then Brent is going to go into our cloud and managed services portfolio. So again, besides co-location and private cloud, we do data protection, DRaaS, backup as a service, object storage. We do a variety of managed services, professional and security services, pen testing, and then interconnection. Dedicated internet. All of our data centers are interconnected. I'll talk a little bit more about that, and a new cloud fabric, which I'll talk about that as well. And then you can be confident that from a compliance standpoint, Flexential checks all the boxes. So for any of your customers, financial, government, healthcare, we got you covered on that in all of our data centers. All right, so from a co-location perspective, we have 39 data centers throughout the US. We offer, one thing that's very attractive is the power densities that we can offer per cabinet, anywhere from 2.4 kW all the way up to 50 kW, which is quite dense. So those vary based on facilities, but it can be very attractive, and I've won a lot of deals based on density, and before I was at Flexential, I lost some deals to Flexential based on density, so it can really help out a lot. From a pricing perspective, Flexential's we're never gonna be your cheapest guy in town, and we're typically never gonna be your most expensive guy in town. We're generally kind of right in the middle compared to other providers, but what you get with Flexential is great value. We have phenomenal data centers, very aggressively priced. So it helps win business, especially when it comes to the mid-market. That's where we excel. And again, like I mentioned, we've got 39 data centers. All of them are interconnected via 100 gig backbone, soon to be a 400 gig backbone. Enables us to offer connectivity between all of our data centers, as well as being able to take advantage of our products that might not be offered in the specific data center you're in. We have 7 cloud nodes. We've got 5 DRaaS nodes, which can be offered from any of our data centers. All right, and we do have a presence in the majority of the key carrier hotels. So in Miami, we're at the Napa in the Americas. We're at 56 Marietta. In Atlanta, we're in Dallas, Chicago, Ashburn, you name it. We're in all those key facilities, enabling you to connect to any of the carriers or providers that you might want to connect to in those facilities. As a sales guy, when I'm talking to my customers, I've seen something that's pretty much been happening in the last 5 to 10 years, but especially now that with COVID, is that people are, one, getting out of the data center business, moving out of their on-prem facilities, and then 2, trying to re-architect their network to accommodate today's environment. And COVID has really accelerated that. And that's really what's driving that is application performance, getting the applications closer to the end user, whether that end user is your customer, partner, your employees. And so this, if you look at the left, that's kind of the old model, which is a hub and spoke topology. You've got your primary data center, whether that's an office building or one data center facility, and in that model, your applications can be affected by latency getting to your end users. So what we've been seeing is moving to a more distributed architecture. So not relying on that single data center, but moving a presence into a key market that you need to be in to help those end users. And again, moving to more distributed architecture. And so how we've enabled that is what we've created the Flexcentral Network Hub. And really, a network hub is not actually a product, it's more of a network architecture. But really what it's doing is placing a small presence, whether it's a single cab, multiple cabs, into a market that you need to be in. And then you're able to sell, as an agent, you're able to sell the gear. Typically that's a firewall, switch, router, load balancer, and again, that enables your customers to be able to establish a presence in a market where they might not have had before. And that leads to a very new product that we've got. It's the Flexential Cloud Fabric. Really a game changer for Flexential. As most of your customers are deploying some type of public cloud solution, this product enables us to provide direct connectivity to those cloud providers. And right now that's AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud Product. And so what we're seeing our customers, the dilemma they've got is they want to connect to multiple cloud providers, and it's complex, it's hard to do, and when they do so, a lot of times they're connecting over the public internet, which has performance issues, reliability issues, security, a lack of agility, and so a direct connectivity model enables your customers to have all the benefits of avoiding the public internet, and with better performance, reliability, scalability, agility, while reducing your costs. And I'll get into that and how that works. But with the Cloud Fabric, what you're able to do is have a single port, whether that's a 1 gig or a 10 gig port, and you're able to then create virtual circuits to multiple cloud providers. So you can turn up a 50 gig virtual circuit, 50 meg virtual circuit, 100 megs up to 10 gigs. You can create multiple circuits to multiple providers, and you can turn those up in just minutes. And they can stay up. There's no contract on those virtual circuits. You can turn them up and have them up for a day, have them up for a week, in a test dev type of scenario, or you could have them up for months or years, keep them up permanently. But again, turn them up and turn them down as you wish. And it's through our Cloud Fabric portal, so you don't have to place orders to do so. You can go in there, order the virtual circuit, and again, have it up in minutes. It's fantastic. And again, it provides a different level of reliability, security, and performance that you can get from connecting over the public internet. There we go. And so we were able to hit all of the cloud on-ramps. So whether that's in the Napa of the Americas, in Miami, in Atlanta, up in Ashburn, which is typical, or Silicon Valley, or Dallas, we have a presence in all those facilities, and we can, whatever data center you're at with Flexential, you're able to get to those cloud on-ramps. And so one of the ways that I'm able to provide a solution to my customers through both the Network Hub and the Cloud Fabric is we talk about how this can pay for itself. Because when you connect over to these cloud providers over the public internet, that pricing, it's basically free to put the information into the cloud, but when you want to use it and take it out, the egress, that's where you start to pay. When you go over the public internet, that's typically about anywhere from, say, 7 cents a gig up to 12 cents a gig, depending on the provider, on the service. When you connect directly to these cloud providers, it takes it down to about 2 to 3 cents a gig. So even if you've got a customer that's connecting to a cloud provider over the public internet, you can talk to them about a Network Hub topology, Cloud Fabric, and how this can pay for itself through the savings that you're going to get from their cloud spend. And this quick use case through Racetrack, one of my customers, I did not say Racetrack. They've got a large data center in Atlanta that they're not looking to leave anytime soon due to contractual reasons. But I was having a conversation with them. We were talking about their application performance, and we had this discussion about Network Hub and Cloud Fabric. So what I was able to do was they wanted to connect to Azure, and they were going to connect over the public internet. So I talked to them just about everything we just discussed, and was able to get a single cab. Half cab in our Atlanta facility with multiple Cloud Fabric ports connecting to Azure. Eventually they're going to connect to AWS and possibly Google as well. And it gave them that direct connectivity. They did a point-to-point circuit from their data center in Atlanta to our data center in Atlanta, and was able to connect to, and they're actually turning this up right now. So what's that? It's a small sale for me, $1,700. But what it's done is got my foot in the door, turned from no deal whatsoever because they had everything to now we're talking about cloud, we're talking about DRAS, and they're going to be adding additional ports both in Dallas and Silicon Valley. So and that's really the story with data center is you're able to land and expand. Once you get your foot in the door, they usually don't go anywhere, and then you're able to sell all of your other ancillary products, and it works quite well. All right. So that's generally our co-location interconnection environment. I'm going to have Brent talk a little bit about our cloud and managed services, and we'll wrap it up. Thanks, Brent.
Thanks, Sean. So along with co-location and the connectivity story, we've understood for many years that clients are inevitably going to have a hybrid implementation of some sort. So we've already covered, the co-location and some of the network story. You can see in the upper left there is public cloud. We got co-location. It's a slightly lighter box there in the middle. That lighter box in the middle indicates what would be within our four walls. The other services that we can provide, we mentioned cloud. We can do a private cloud. We can do a multi-tenant cloud. We do virtual desktop infrastructure and bare metal or dedicated servers. Along with that, everything within that space, we can put managed services on, which we'll cover a little bit in further details. And then as we have all these services, including not just cloud, but we're talking the cloud fabric, we can wrap all of those services around with professional services. What most people don't realize with cloud fabric or connecting into the hyperscale clouds is that it's so much more difficult than the mere mortal expects. You think, well, I'll just get this cross connect over to Azure and I'll be off. Well, that is not the case. So we're able to wrap all of our services for our clients within their environment and then allow them to, as Sean said, land and expand. Maybe they start with colo today, then we can make it easy to step into a multi-tenant cloud. Within the cloud, we've got a lot of flavors. Hosted private cloud, which is a dedicated compute stack for privacy and security. Some people like it for knowing performance, that there's no noisy neighbor. We can also add on that advanced vCenter access, which is kind of a game changer for us in the cloud space. A lot of providers will find a way to give clients access to a vCenter instance, but it's not what they do. It's not normal business for them, so it's a one-off. I worked for another large cloud provider, and they referred to it as a Franken-center because it was not what they did. They had to piece it together. Multi-tenant cloud, we can do managed public cloud, so helping clients with managing AWS and Azure infrastructure. In fact, we've got one of the largest document management companies in the nation that we're doing managed public cloud for, and also DevOps services. And a lot of that comes through our professional services team. We've got the cloud fabric, desktop as a service, DR as a service, and we can also do managed containers within the cloud stack. Real quick here, the multi-tenant cloud, that's where it's a great entry, scalable, cost-effective, instant capacity. Our clients can burst beyond the contracted amounts. We can do the hosted private cloud, which is the dedicated compute underneath. Really, it just helps for those clients that really want to know what's going on within their environment, that they're the only ones residing on it. And that's where the advanced vCenter comes in. They get direct access to the vCenter APIs and management all the way down through the host. All of these cloud services that we're talking about fall under the same compliance regulations that Sean had shown on the prior slide: PCI, HIPAA, HITRUST, ITAR. So we provide that all the way up through the hypervisor, and then have the security services that enable the clients within the operating system and above maintain compliance. Not every workload works well in hyperscalers. We see a lot of what we're framing it as the boomerang effect. Everybody goes, cloud first. Put everything in Azure, put everything in AWS. They quickly find that, well, maybe, one, trying to read your invoice is a nightmare. There's companies who now do nothing but work on those hyperscale invoices. But on the right side here where the hyperscalers are, it's great for DevOps, orchestration, automation, that you can throw, UAT, dev up there. Some of the things that you might consider there: shorter life cycles, lower security posture. We've all, I'm sure, heard the stories of people leaving S3 buckets unsecured, so data just freely flows out to the internet. Seasonal workloads, and really rapid buildup and teardown. That's those current, the more modern applications that you're going to have microservices. It'll spin up a query within an instance. As soon as it gets its response, throws it back into the application, it'll tear down. Those are some of the use cases for hyperscalers that works well. What works really well on a hosted private cloud are some of those enterprise applications that come pre-packaged. The Microsoft stack. Very static workloads. They're not nearly as seasonal, or if you have advertising during the Super Bowl, that's probably not necessarily the right place to put it onto a hosted private cloud. But we can really work with the longer application life cycles, strict security requirements, high IOPS workloads, and then we also can wrap our managed services in there. So a little bit more on the Advanced vCenter, a couple of the challenges that this address for customers who want to offload that work for managing the infrastructure and just manage their applications. And so really with the Advanced vCenter, we can enable all the APIs to help them control what their applications are doing. There may be a case where they want to utilize their current third-party DevOps tool sets. So those would be protected, any licensing that they may have gotten. And then they want to know that they can control for performance and functionality, and so they can spin up workloads as they need it. And then the manual provisioning for DevOps, that's been a nightmare for people when they're trying to deploy a new application. If you have to do it manually, it just kind of removes the use of DevOps as a methodology. So it just takes too much time. Some use cases for the hybrid cloud here is, it's private cloud centric. This is in relationship to the dedicated vCenter access. You can support multi-cloud management tools. If you have a implementation on your site and you want to go to a cloud, replatforming for the hyperscalers can be a very big challenge. Things do not operate the same on site with the VMware cloud as they do in AWS. If a client has a phased hardware refresh, what they can do is they can begin to move applications into the Flexential cloud as their hardware ages, and they can put it in there. And then as they continue to refresh their hardware, they get rid of the old, they continue to move things into the Flexential cloud. And we're enabling vMotion directly between a client premise and our cloud through VMware, HCX, and NSX. We're bringing in the software-defined networking into our cloud. And then a toolset integration, protect your investment. So you have your DevOps tools and potentially other tools. And here's a great example of Veeam. If somebody is currently backing up their VMs with Veeam, well, they can bring that same licenses, bring it into our cloud, and then they can run them through the vCenter access. Additionally, we also have the capability of providing the backup target that would run across our backbone, archive storage within our four walls in the fleet. So clients can get that data offsite and be protected. Managed infrastructure services. So with our managed services, we want to help clients offload that low-hanging fruit of work, patching, some of the basic monitoring, troubleshooting. Of course, if anybody ever worked with Windows, there's a whole lot of troubleshooting that has to go. So if we can offload some of that stuff around the operating system, databases, other operational issues, that's what we do best. And then with offloading that low-hanging fruit of work, those folks can then focus directly on what adds value to the business. Core offerings that work in the managed services space, manage the operating system, so we can help make sure that we're monitoring and patching servers. We do managed firewall, so that way we can offload the need for a client to get into the firewall. We'll do all that work for them. We can do that virtual or physical in a redundant fashion. We can do managed database on multiple database platforms, not just Microsoft SQL, NoSQL. And so we can take that in-house. We've got the database experts to take care of that. Another service I love to offer clients, Active Directory as a service. We will deploy the virtual machines. We will configure Active Directory, and then we'll continue to monitor and back that up. So it's almost like Active Directory just comes to you. I'd mentioned Flexential Professional Services. This is, for Flexential, a huge sales enabler. So they have a big practice around the DevOps and security. It's a bench of about 50 to 60 highly trained engineers. The company had bought a company called Applied Trust about 5 years ago, seeing a need for particularly around security. I mean, that's where a lot of our clients need the most help. And so now we're able to offer not just the design around your cloud readiness, infrastructure, and DevOps, but now we can also come to clients. This organization is also a separate entity so that their QSAs are not coming in and it's kind of like the fox guarding the hen house. So they're a separate organization, so their QSAs can do PCI scans and assessments of our client infrastructure within our four walls. They can do all risk assessments, ransomware readiness, which is a big thing these days. Nobody is immune from ransomware these days. It just takes one inadvertent click and you could have a really bad day. And then penetration testing, which can take many different forms, not just the testing for vulnerabilities, but also social engineering, looking at the wireless in a facility. Many different ways to look at what is the security posture for a client. And then we can do other security management around remediation and security, cybersecurity program where we can come in and work with the company, all the stakeholders involved. We can then provide a readout of what our findings are, what are the shortcomings, where are they secured, and then give an actionable list and work with them to implement those. Incident response is a retainer service, so if you have a breach, security breach, and you know that there's a bad actor somewhere within your environment, it's a service that you can call 24/7. You will be able to get the right engineers to work with you to resolve that. Because if you try to call in the middle of the night, trying to find somebody to help you with a breach, one, you might be lucky to find somebody. Two, you're going to pay a lot of money for that, right in the middle of the night. It's going to be a difficult situation for you. So we can do the vulnerability scanning and then the DR design and planning sessions. This is not a comprehensive, detailed list of all the services that we have, but it will give you a great idea of what we can do. The important part is we just want to make sure that people come talk to us early and talk to us often, and we can really find the right solution for a client. We want to take the consultative approach and work with somebody and find what they really want. We're not going to push them into anything. We don't pre-package a lot of stuff together, so we can just kind of a la carte in a way, make sure that they get the right services for them.
Key takeaways. Look, when you think of Flexential, I want you to think co-location, interconnection, and cloud. And we're not. I know a lot of people just think of us as co-location, but we do offer that full hybrid IT solution for your customers. Another key takeaway is, when it comes to cloud, one size does not fit all. Hyperscalers are not the only solution, but when you do have somebody that's worth a hyperscaler, it's not the end of the world. There's through private cloud, through connectivity, the cloud fabric, there's still doors to open. And what we said is, we don't position against the hyperscalers, we position with them for solutions. And as Brent said, bring us in early and often. And then most importantly, let the workload be the guide. So where their applications are, what the applications are, will help drive the solution, and we'll help you figure that out. All right, and lastly, there we go. So we've got channel managers in all the regions. I know everybody's here in Florida, and like I said, we have a new channel manager starting. I know they're going to reach out to TCG and then introductions. But during this time, think of me as your channel manager, and anything you might need, reach out to me, and I'm glad to help. And most importantly, how you get paid. We've got some great promotions going on right now. Spiffs, $1,000 spiffs on co-location promos, fast start promos, and again, I'll send this deck out so everybody can see them. We're going to have a couple new promos starting in Q4, but aggressively priced with nice spiffs for our partners. And let's get going all the way. There you go. And just going back into landing and expanding. Once you've sold that initial product, it's not over. Once you've sold colo, you're able to sell expand. Most people expand once they get into a colo environment. Then you can go and sell cloud, DRaaS, multiple DRaaS sites. So that's the name of the game when the colocation environment is land and expand. So, all right, that's. Oh. Come on, baby. Oh, there. Some of our key logos, and again, I'll send that out. I'll send this deck out, and you can see. But we hit all verticals, anywhere from SMB all the way up to the hyperscalers and everywhere in between. Great. Thank you very much.